G'day, this is Captainoob, and I've got one question. Can you solo a Colossal Problem with a Cryolator? So this was suggested by the comments. I don't know if that was an elaborate troll, but this one was especially painful. Attempt number 1 at an Earl kill was using quad lucky variants, and no way. Far too little damage, far too little DPS, didn't work out. So what we're going to be using today mostly is going to be a quad fire rate, less VATS cost, VATS enhanced, let's call things by the right name here. That's not it. It's actually this one you see. I actually managed to roll like 2 of these. I use this mainly for crippling. We've got one gun army. We'll get to the build a second, but we get very limited use out of that. The crystallizing barrel actually isn't that great at all. And we've also got a bloodied one just for reference of how much damage you'd be missing out on if you went for a damage prefix rather than a magazine one. So that's the one we're using. Standard barrel, recoil compensating stock. That helps with the recoil. It's like there's nothing there anyway. It just increases your accuracy stat a little bit. So if you want to use this thing in VATS, then that's slightly better. And the glow sights are there, completely useless because you know where the thing's going anyway because it's in the middle of the screen. So, you know, they're there. You don't really need to use them. Let's get into the build. So what we're going with was a heavy gunner build with lock and load, so our reloads are very fast indeed. We've also got quick hands for reload, which happens 1 in 6 times, so, I mean, on average, so it happens a couple of times, pretty good. Got serendipities to make sure we don't die due to my own stupidity. Very helpful. Got dodgy, so we can tank a little bit. We'll be doing a bit of dodge tanking with that, since we're not going to be using any AP for using it in VATS, which is why I've got Mysterious Savior and Quick Hands instead of Critical Savvy and better criticals, because although you can crit the little tackers, little buggers, you can crit them, I couldn't crit Earl in my first run at all, so I decided to go for some survivability perks, which does come in handy, it must be said. We've got Covert Operative because we're doing this as a stealth Cryolator fashion, because it makes a lot of sense if we do it like that. Adrenaline's there. It kind of showed up. Got Nerd Rage, that also showed up. First Aid and Field Surgeon, so we can cheese healing with stim packs if we run into any trouble. That's basically a get out of jail for free card because we've got super stim packs with those. And they just do a ton of healing. We've got Grenadier, that helps when we've got a proc of the far-flung fireworks. Concentrated Fire for looking at his limbs. And we've got Glow Sight, just because I want it there. I don't even know if it does anything against the Wendigos they're in, but it is what it is. So a big one here would be follow through, because this thing is going to be proccing constantly because we're going to be sneak attack critting all the time. That's helpful. Like I said, we've got far-flung fireworks. Get limited use out of that, but it is nice when it happens. And a bunch of extra things to help fill out my special perks. It's very nice. We maxed out agility and luck for this, which is good. In retrospect, probably might have want to go on for blocker as well, just in case we get hit by a Wendigo. That'd be good. I'd actually consider dropping glow sight for it, but hindsight is always 20/20. Those are the things I'd change, and if you want to try this at home, I would recommend a build similar to this if you feel like it. Anyways, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, here we are on attempt 2. This time I've got a bloodied one and a quad one, also another quad one, but this one's got a crystallizing barrel. They're like duplicates, but I rolled them like legit, like sort of like spamming the rolling thing, and managed to get 2 Q25/25s. What are the odds of that? I don't even want to know. What I want to know is, was this worth it to get as much damage as I could possibly get? We will see in a second here. So I went for fire rate for the main damage one because we had problems with crits last time. A lot of problems with crits. Sure, you could crit all of the stupid Wendigos you were standing next to, but then you had real problems with critting Earl, so you basically couldn't crit him at all. So with that, we decided to use something else. And what are you doing, mate? And looks like we can get some easy crits here, and we can get a decent amount of shots in VATS. You haven't run behind the stage, have you? No, you haven't. And what we're going to try to do is, like, cripple his legs to keep him in place. And one gun army should do okay with that. And then when he's all crippled and just completely immobile, that's when we'll toast his face. And I'll tell you right now that I was getting 20 damage. 20 damage with the quad one. And now we're getting 23 damage with the bloodied one. That's all the difference that it makes. 3 damage and maybe another 1 for the for that extra. I mean, that's not explosive damage. That's just shots that I'm not hitting. So what I might do is just go literally to the Cryolator of the quad variety and just hit him with that, because our sustained DPS is probably going to be higher. It's going to take a shitload of cells of the cryo variety, but that's okay. We're on the duper server because everything is made for free. I've got 20,000 of these bad boys, and that fire is going to kill me if I don't chuck on the right thing. There we go. Let me just remind myself to do that. Now, I wanted to chuck on Demo Expert to help me with the crystallizing barrel, because that used to have an explosive part in Fallout 4. But since it's not ballistic or energy damage anymore, I don't think that applies. So we're not using it for main DPS anyway, so that's fine. And we seem to have a decent enough time just sort of keeping him in place here. So, you know, as long as we're able to do this, then we'll be in good, I guess, standing. Get it? Because he's standing still. We somehow managed to cancel his spit sometimes. That might be thanks to the cripple chance offered by this thing. It's a bit cooked, I think. And that was really close. That's okay, I can deal with that. I want to see if I can't cripple his legs just by toasting it. Or, I guess, freeze it. I like my Earls freeze-dried. Oh, no you don't. Pig's ass, I was in range of that. Luckily, there's some crates here. Now, we'll switch over back to the other thing. And we can get crits doing it like this, but the projectiles are slow, which means we've got an onset delay of the crits actually hitting. You'll note that I got a shitload of hit markers prior or after exiting that. So a lot of the crits here I cannot actually utilize. So that's why I didn't go for a critical savvy, better criticals approach to this, simply because it just isn't that effective. And we're gonna have to gain a lot of adrenaline damage to actually see any difference on our attacks here. Maybe we'll switch back over to the bloodied for shits and giggles. Now we're doing 24. That's probably not enough to justify it. I mean, we can kill the little babby dudes slightly quicker, but it is definitely not enough to justify it. We're getting 21 now, so only a slight tiny bit less damage, but we can hold down the trigger for 4 times as long, and somehow he forgets to stop. He just forgets to spit. So this is going to be the way that it goes. Now we've got COVID operative. Nice one, Serendipity. So am I listening to something? It'd be nice to lure it. That hit us again, but we didn't take any damage. You could tell because of the radial blur. Yeah, I don't know. We're getting the bonus from COVID. Actually, we managed to get a quick hands on a quad there. That's alright. That'll keep that damage streak going for a bit. But this is kind of how it's going to be. We're 5 minutes into this, and he hasn't reached his mutation threshold. So this is going to be a long fight. Now, I don't know if the whole stealth Cryolator thing was, hey, let's see if this works, or rather it was an elaborate attempt of trolling me. Thank you, Dodgy. That's the reason we chucked that on. And that was it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not a good weapon. It's one of those weapons that feels tacked on because there's no role that this thing is good in. If you want a good plasma flamer, just use a plasma flamer. They're a lot better. The Enclave ones, they go hard. So, you've got this weapon which was supposed to be this unique entity in Fallout 4. Like the dude, the Overseer man, he got bored during the waiting period, the lockdown or whatever, of Vault 111, so he thought to himself, you know what, I'm going to make this cool gun that shoots the cryogenics. It's on theme with this vault. Now, I get that there's a cryo vault in Fallout 76, but I don't care. This thing shouldn't be in here as it is. I wouldn't mind if they put this thing in here and it had a definite role, something that it was actually good at to, you know, make it worth using, but we can't even freeze Earl, which is the main sort of shtick of the thing, you know? I just ran into the drill. Nice. Gave myself the Earl treatment. Now, funnily enough, when I was recording this before, he beelined straight to the drill. Maybe he'll back his ass up on the drill again. I wouldn't object to that, actually. Yeah, keep going, mate. Oh my god, he's doing it again! Again! So that would be 4 in a row, but now, joke's on me. I did it. And that kind of damage over time is not good. I'll get ya. So there's Earl over there. We only managed to get mutation threshold, so we didn't actually lose any time there whatsoever, which is kind of neat. What we can do is just sort of regather adrenaline. There we go. There's a bit of far-flung fireworks for you. Fuck, I hate these Wendigos so much. Instant stagger, not cool. Hate it. We'll never not hate it. But luckily we can sort of stagger them back. Come on, mysterious savior. Thank you. Let me move, please. I can jump but not move. That doesn't make a lick of sense, but here we are. So there's the reason I chucked on that perk, I'll tell you that much. And we're going to go over to the ranged one now. It's going to be a whole lot less effective against these chumps, but, you know, it'll save me from being mobbed by these guys and perma-staggered to death, so I guess it's got its merits there. That should be a full bar of adrenaline now. Let's get Earl stopped. We'll cripple his perception by crippling one of his heads, which will cripple all of them, because he's a dumbass, and, I don't know, maybe all of his brains are wired together. Concuss one and they're all fucked. Bad design. Then again, having 3 heads and 2 big arms for legs, not a good design anyway, so, you know. We'll try to put him down like the abomination he is, but he is way too mobile for me at the moment. And, uh-oh, he's nearing the drill again. We've had a talk about this, Earl. You can't start masturbating during a video. This is serious, you moron. And holy shit, look at these Wendigos. Good, we got detected. Alright, probably going to bank on escape artist here. Switch over to the bloody just for better time to kill. Oh my god, he's edging closer to the drill. He can't fucking get enough of it. He's got a problem. He needs to go to Butthole Drillers Anonymous, where he goes, "Hello, my name is Earl Williams, and I am a butthole drill addict." Yeah, 24 damage. Let's switch back over to the quad. So this is probably the way you want to run it. Actually, you know, I'll tell you what a better way of running it would be. For fuck's sake, I'm sick of these fucking Wendigos. Get out. Get out of here. That's a big explosion. That's nice. Stim pack. Don't you bloody delay. Luckily enough, Earl is out of the picture now, so we're 1v4ing these guys, just hammering the jump button, because if we get hit, we're staggered, so we're kind of stuck here like a bloody bunny. See? Annoying. I'd call it bad design, but it's fucking par for the course for this game. Anyways, he's sitting there burning. My W key is fucked again, and we get 22 damage instead of the standard 20 we were getting. Wonderful. And we'll maintain it, I suppose. We'll maintain that adrenaline. You'd think that it'll be faction connected, but it doesn't look like they are. Earl's sort of on his own. It's weird. Maybe they're like ally factions, right? They're not all part of the specific Wendigo faction that hates the player faction, which we are all in. Wonder how they did that. I mean, they'd have to change like the players' factions for PvP. Wonder how they did that. Maybe that's why it's such a pain in the ass, because they gotta switch factions around and shit. Don't know how that works. You know, the technical aspect, despite, you know, Fallout 76 being itself, is kind of something that I'm interested in, because they've turned this single player game into this multiplayer game, and not a lot of it has worked, and hopefully they've learned from it, and hopefully they've learned to never fucking do it again. But, you know, seeing what they did and how they made it happen would be cool. We got a little bit of insight to that in that preview video they did before the game's release. Anyways, so we're got about 15 minutes left, and that's how much we've got to go on Earl's health bar. So, I had about 20,000 cryo rounds before we started this, and we'll just keep that in mind for a bit later. Oh my god. Yeah, he'll do that. He's sort of backed himself into a position where his little spit blobs will sort of stop me, but that's okay. He's on the move again, which is going to solve that issue for me. If only there was a bigger problem we can solve. A colossal one, as it were. Let's bring the bloodied one out for a bit. Why not? And you are crippled again. Not getting a whole lot of use out of this. And now, that's another no-go zone for me. I could get myself, like, under Nerd Rage, but we only get, like, 2 extra damage out of it. So I'd rather have the extra security of not dying, you know? But that's kind of how it's going to go. And he's uncrippled now. It's not the end of the world. Maybe we can hit him twice if we go through both of the legs, if it hits both hitboxes. That might be an idea. It'd be cool if you could just, like, hit him here and then it hits all of his hitboxes and applies that damage, like, 4 times over. But, like, what is this weapon's role? I don't even know what Bethesda's thinking on when it comes to the weapon design and balance, because I feel like they've got it better in shooters. Like, everything has a specific role. What do you get out of a Scar H in Battlefield 4? I'll tell you what you get. You get a fucking DMR hybrid of an assault rifle. That's actually a battle rifle because it fires big 7.62 rounds. But you could compete with DMRs with that thing. Had a great DPS and everything. Didn't need a stim pack there, but I did it anyway. It's such a good weapon. It filled that sort of long-range role. But if you wanted a close-range blaster, you'd have something like, say, an AEK, right? So let's think about that in Fallout 76. So you've got a close-range blaster, the 10mm submachine gun. It does its job well. And a sort of longer-range approach would be nothing. You've got the combat rifle, the handmade rifle, fixer, all of those things. They're kind of just the same role as filled. There's no reason to ever use a handmade over a combat or a fixer in terms of, like, proper damage output. Sure, there's quirks and everything that might make the handmade slightly better in situations. Its recoil's a lot nicer, the ammo's a little bit easier to find. And it's an AK, so if you're a Kalashnikov person, well, you'll like it a little bit more. But, like, what does it do? It doesn't really do anything better that really makes it a role. And I understand how there's, like, linear weapon progression and, you know, things are obsoleted. But we've got weapon levels anyway, and there's like, higher level variants of everything, right? So, you know, the Cryolators don't cap out at level 25 like they should because they're fucking garbage. So, you know, you gotta have the weapons be brought up to a point where they're actually usable at levels where you might actually want to get some use out of them. I'm going for the snowball machine again. There we go. I don't mind him being over there, but we do have to... Oh, wait. No, never mind. He's just full fucking centered into the wall there. That's not too bad, actually. I think we're back over to Bloodied at the moment. It's annoying. Managed to get a little bit of quick hands action there. Not too bad. And we're down to 14,000. So if you're going to have all these weapons in the game, why not make them fill out roles rather than being, you know, replaced or just something that's slightly better than the other? It's extra egregious with revolvers because the Western revolver and the 44 Magnum are the same things, but slightly different looking with slightly different stats. Like, how could you make that better, right? Well, maybe you could make the 44 Magnum single action, leave the Western revolver as a double action, so therefore you'd get a faster fire rate out of the 44 Magnum at the cost of less damage, so you've got a better DPS from the double action 44 at the cost of its fire rate, so it might be better in some situations. Then you've got the Western revolver, which hits like a truck, but it's a bit slower. How would we balance out the single action revolver at that point? I don't know, maybe crank the damage up to make the long-ass reload worth it. Or maybe speed up the reload so we're like the courier in, like, Fallout New Vegas, who can reload it like they're on coke or something. But like, you watch those reload animations, they're quick. Thanks, Serendipity. Very appreciable on that one. So, we're about just under 10 minutes to go, and we're making progress, but it's been a slow haul. The fact that you can't freeze Earl really takes away from its, I guess, utility, and that might be its role, right? You can freeze stuff with it. So you got people in Scorched Earth, they freeze a Scorched Beast Queen, it gets killed real quickly. Like, you don't need it. You don't need it. Things in this game are weak enough, unless they're at this level, to, you know, just wipe the floor with basically everyone. Now, you can get Earl to stand still just by crippling his legs anyway, so there's less reason to use this thing with that, so there you go. But at least this guy's close to the ground all the time, and we actually are able to hit him basically 100% of the time. Problem is, it just does such piddly damage that it's barely even bloody worth it now, isn't it? I did this, you don't have to. Cryolator, honestly, write off, don't need it. Its utility value is limited at best. Slowing the Scorched Beast Queen down is not going to do anything when you've got a bunch of high-level players who know what they're doing, and now we're in danger. We're going to run over here and try to proc Escape Artist. Thank you. And then we're going to get a bloodied one out. Just for a spell. Snowball Machine out. That would be equals, not 1 or 2. There we go. Stops you in your tracks, mate. Very pitiful weapon. Also, if you watch closely, I'm going to try to zoom right in here. Oh, I can't do that. Sorry. The bullets come from the stock. They're coming from behind my ear. I'm a magician, motherfucker. That's what they did. They put the projectile thing, like, on the stock. Like, how could they get that wrong? That's basic fucking NIF scope. I've never developed a video game in my life. I've made a few mods and everything, and even I know that, hey, you gotta move that projectile thing up. Otherwise, the bullets are gonna come from the air hole. It's gonna look fucking stupid. But here we are. Alright, a little bit of adrenaline there. I dare say we're on a Nerd Rage, which is a no-no. We've gone this far without Nerd Rage. Why should we bother continuing with it? I'd rather have that extra security. But now we're hitting for 20 and 10, so... no, the 10's non-headshots, so we're gonna have good aim tracking to make sure we maximize our damage here. And while he's a big target, the numbers are kind of blocking my view here, so forgive me for my inaccuracy. It is what it is. We're on the home stretch now. We should be able to get this done before 6.5 minutes. I mean, it was a crazy run, but the cost of ammo here was insane. This weapon is just not good. Feels tacked on. Why'd you put this in the game? Leave it in Fallout 4. It was a good boy in Fallout 4. In this game, it's sad. It's sad. They've done the Cryolator dirty. This thing used to be Bowler. Now it's not. And on that note, Earl is now freeze-dried, and that is about it for him on this particular occasion. We'll be seeing you a little bit later, Mr. Earl. He did give us a nice bit of Overeater's power armor, which is... it's T45, so it's not great, but the prefix I can appreciate. Righto then. Well, that was that. Let's go outside and record some sort of intro or outro or something. Yeah, we'll do that. Welcome to Fallout 4. This is the Cryolator. You want to see what it does? This is the one with the crystallizing barrel, 115 ballistic, 63 energy. This thing's not legendary either. So there's a mythic Deathclaw, the big bad ones. You shoot it and it goes away. And splat, less than a magazine. Yeah, the Cryolators used to be pretty good, but now they're not. Also, it looks better. That might be because the EMB, though, and it's got good speculars. I like Fallout 4 better. Is that obvious? Who knows? Anyways, so this one's been a bit of a long one, so I'm going to leave it there. That was a Deathclaw kill, and we're using Tinkerbell's great-granddaughter. It's just Matilda, because, you know, Miranda, same fucking syllables. So, yeah, be sure to leave your suggestions. No more terrible weapons, please. I don't want a terrible one. Give me a good one next time. Thank you very much for watching, guys.